Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast. Today we've got Jeremy Mastretta. What's going on, Jeremy?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you coming on. We'll do a quick little bio. So I was reading about you, Bozeman, Montana.
That's right. Yep.
And focus primarily now is on line-based plasters.
Correct.
So at the beginning, started out in painting world.
Correct.
So let's just kind of kick it off. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got into painting, how you were lucky enough to get to Bozeman.
Sure.
And then how that progressed over into the new age artisans with the plaster. And we'll just kind of go from there.
Sure. Sounds good. So yeah, grew up in Madison, Connecticut, lived kind of the suburbia life, playing soccer, skiing on the weekends in Vermont.
Okay.
Really just pretty normal upbringing. By the time I was, I think, 15 years old, though, my parents said, enough of this. You're going to get a job. So initially started washing dishes. Absolutely didn't like that, making $5 an hour. So I got bumped to $7 an hour, scraping clapboard siding of colonial homes over the summertime. And I got to just be the guy with my 5-in-1, scraping, hitting it with the belt sander, and helping restore these beautiful homes in Connecticut. I hated it.
I mean, that's like low man on the totem.
Oh yeah. Well, I was. I mean, I was like a horrible employee too. Like I was the worst. 15, 16, 17 years old. Thought I knew everything. Thought the boss didn't know everything. I'd actually thought about reaching out to that person and thanking him for like what a hard ass he was with me, because I deserved it. And
I mean, every 17-year-old does.
oh yeah, exactly. Yes. But we would go to Montana for, a week or two for summer vacations, and absolutely loved Montana. It's so beautiful. The skiing, the fishing, the hunting, just incredible. By the time I was 18, it was a very simple decision. Like, where am I going to go to college? Montana State University. Very, very simple. So went to MSU for 4 years, earned a degree in English literature. Also earned a degree at the University of Bridger Bowl, skiing as well. And wasn't really done having fun.
Yeah.
Didn't want to stop. So I decided, well, I'll just start this little painting company. This will be fun. And very quickly, while trying to have fun and running the painting company and not having mom and dad to pay for anything anymore, it was kind of alarming to become an adult. Yeah. I was 22 years old, not making as much money as I really needed to be making on what I was doing. And also on top of it, I didn't really know what I was doing. These houses that we were working on were so over my head as far as the level of craftsmanship. We're doing, fine finish work inside these homes. I'm learning the employee dynamic of what it's like to be a boss, what it's like to manage money. Did a lot of growing up from the time I was 22 to 26. A lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of strikes and gutters.
Yeah.
But when I was 24, I bumped into Imperial Plaster Wall, which is a gypsum plaster wall. And it was this really beautiful color integrated wall. And the homeowner said, "Can you fix this?" And as I was in the midst of questioning everything I was doing in the paint world, I thought, yeah, this is something that's really cool. I'll give it a try. I kind of learned the drywall trade as well, and was familiar with, hot muds and mesh tapes and all-purpose muds. And I thought, I can do this.
We can make this work.
Yeah, we can make this work. And again, peaks and valleys, strikes and gutters. I think I probably paid to have that job done, but I figured it out. And after that point in time, I had just committed to the fact that I was going to be plastering, that I wasn't going to run brush and a roller or a spray rig anymore. It was just, to me, it was a way in which I could really kind of demonstrate to the world who I was and not be a painter. No offense to painters.
Yeah.
I think
Well, what's interesting is, you know, we've talked about offline a little bit, and a buddy of ours, Colby, up in the Northeast, and he does a lot of plaster.
Yeah.
Me being from Oklahoma and then moving down here to Texas, it's a 1 in 50, maybe 1 in 100 jobs where someone requests a true line plaster.
Yeah.
What's it like west? Is it quite a bit of plaster up in the Montana area?
Yeah. We are very, very, very lucky and fortunate in, you know, Bozeman, Montana. In the 90s when I moved there, it was not a very well-known place. Post? Yeah. It's ag. Yeah. Ag town, you know, with kind of these little pockets of skiers, and rednecks and hippies. And now it's very bougie. There's the show Yellowstone. You've heard of it?
It's about to say Yellowstone. Yeah. A lot for them.
Yeah. I watched one episode. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't pretend. But there's so much work and there's so much money that's pouring into this place, and everyone that is moving there, or I should say most folks that are moving there, really, really, really want nice things. They really want these walls that are going to kind of accent all of their accoutrements that are in the house. And the way in which they're doing that right now is through plaster. So I've kind of like hit this pivotal moment in life where there's all the work in the world. It's very trendy. It's very in vogue, and it's beautiful, and everybody wants it. So we've become lucky and fortunate.
But that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But I had to ride the wave. You know, it was definitely hard, very hard in the beginning.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's how, like in the cabinet world, cabinet finishing, professional finishing, water-based coatings was kind of on that wave.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got into it 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you were laughed at. Now it's becoming the norm.
Yeah.
One, because of regulations on solvent-based coatings, but you've got so many guys that are moving into that, like green, and it's becoming, I don't want to say trendy, but trendy's probably about the best explanation you're going to get. That water-based coatings, everything's moving that away. So guys like yourself in the plaster world may not have foreseen that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you're like, I want to do something special. I want to specialize. Back then, probably wasn't that many jobs. Now you're probably turning them down.
Yeah. We've gotten to the point now where we work for just a few contractors in town. There's some large scale, super high end builders that we work for. It's 3 or 4 of them. And that's our primary source of income in the world of contracting. But we did get to the point a few years ago where we decided to develop our own plaster. And once we developed our own plaster, then we kind of got to the point where we realized, well, wait a second. We can't be in every place in Southwest Montana or even the country to do these jobs.
Yeah.
But our plaster can and our techniques can. So it was just a way to have some more passive income come in and actually spread, no pun intended, you know.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. You kids are like, God. Yeah. Spread basically just our techniques throughout the country and Southwest Montana. And it's gotten to the point now where our once seen competitors are now the customer, which is awesome.
That is an interesting switch. Like, because, you know, I was in the painting world. So, you know, from being in the finishing world and then going into the manufacturing world, there's very few similarities between the two.
Yeah.
I noticed when I went into manufacturing. How was that transition for you guys? Because I see a lot of painters today that are either painters, finishers that are trying to go into distribution, do similar things, like create more passive income, because you can only paint so many houses.
Yeah.
But if you're selling widgets or paint or plaster, you know, it broadens the amount of income that you can bring in, because you can't do every job.
Yeah.
You could supply the paint.
Yeah, exactly. Like most things in life, the learning curve was steep.
Yeah.
I just initially thought, well, we know how to do it. We know what goes into these plaster formulas. Let's go ahead. Let's come up with our own raw materials. Let's source them locally, and let's create a warehouse in which We can sift sands. We can add calcium carbonates. We can add lime to it. And let's do it. Very simple to think of in the inception. Very simple to make. One bucket.
Yes.
Once we jumped from that 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000, scaling it was something that really twisted my mind. And then taking out all of kind of the dead weight of our manufacturing, streamlining our efficiencies and finding ways in which we were going to boost our production and then be able to ship the material out the door.
Yeah.
That to me was a real challenge. And then on top of it, having the capital to be able to keep the machine running.
Man, yeah.
But again, we were fortunate because we had the contracting that was providing residual income to be able to support it.
I mean, that makes a big difference when you've got a business that's successful and you can kind of get hands off on it, let it run itself or have a manager in place and then go into the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that last year is when it really picked up and we started gaining a lot of traction. But I mean, I can certainly say to this point in my life, I mean, the last year was easily the hardest year of my adult life.
So how long have you guys been manufacturing?
About 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And we, kind of had the kid gloves on in the beginning and we were in this small little 1,000 square foot space that was leased and placed right around the corner from our showroom in Bozeman. I found out that I happened to know the owner that had this 3,000 square foot warehouse and it was just used as storage. So I knocked on his door and I said, "Hey, we have this manufacturing thing going. I would love to be able to lease from you."
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah," gave me a fair price. We shook on it. And on January 1st of last year, we walked into a 3,000 square foot warehouse, 50 yards from our showroom.
That's pretty
And said, "Okay, let's go." Conveniently, it was 35 below zero on the first day that we laid down the first sill plate to create walls in there. And I just remember pouring so much money and time and energy and heart and soul into what we were doing, thinking, what if this doesn't work? What if this does not work? And I had a few employees that were really, really behind me. And then I had a couple that were really not behind what we were doing.
Man,
And it was just, I found myself just like stuck in this like constant haze of static of like, what is happening here? The orders are coming in. The clients are calling, asking us, when we're going to be there on their job. The jobs aren't running the way that they're supposed to be running because we're still like kind of climbing out of like a little COVID hangover still.
Yeah, still. Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can like take this anymore. Like this is so much stress for an ordinary man. Like these guys that are running these huge shows, like, I mean, like, what do you think it's like for like Jeff Bezos to like wake up every morning? Like, can you even imagine that?
I mean, I think her name's Colby. She's an online personality, but she owns businesses. And she was saying that she read an article, and I really believe it's true. As a guy who started a couple businesses, like the number one trait of all entrepreneurs, doesn't matter, it wasn't money, it wasn't connections, it's just perseverance,
Just grit.
just the willingness to not quit.
Yeah. Just show up. And there were moments where like I walked like right to the edge and I looked over and I got to see like, you go 2 more steps past where you are right now, bad things happen in the world of finances. And that's going to trickle right down to your contracting business, which in turn is going to trickle down to your family, which in turn is going to trickle down to your mortgages, which is your car payment. And I was like, oh my God, this is out of control. This is out of control. But I was like, it's going to work. It's going to keep, it's going to
Has to.
And I just kept pushing forward. And many of those employees that were part of the contracting world no longer work with us. They're off doing their own things. Actually, a couple of them, customers, which is great. Yeah. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing when you have a dynamic where you maybe don't disagree. You maybe don't agree with someone on one level, but then you're able to establish a completely different relationship with them. And now empower those people to get out and create, and then in turn prefer jobs to them.
That's pretty good.
It's wild. One person in particular, like the stars were aligned for him and I did not like each other. I wouldn't say that we like each other per se, but I would say that we respect each other now.
That's pretty impressive.
And it's awesome. He comes in, he asks questions, we shake hands, buy some material, and out the door he goes.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Have you read this book called that? I mean, like what you're talking about as far as vision reminds me of this book called Vivid Vision. Have you ever read Vivid Vision?
I have read the Vivid Vision.
Is that not an amazing book?
Yes.
Like, I mean, everything that you're saying is like, if you're not, for those of you that haven't read it, it's definitely a book worth reading, but it kind of goes into, you have to spend time, create a very vivid vision of success 3 years down the road, but you share it with everyone.
And that was my problem, is I was literally building the plane while I was flying it. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea, but I knew that there was this cloudy picture of what could be something. And it was kind of crafting itself as we were doing it. And the challenge was that I wasn't able to accurately articulate and depict to my employees what I was doing. And they questioned it.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so. I mean,
yeah. And then on top of it, I was so busy with everything I was doing that I didn't really have a chance to counter their arguments. And
because you didn't have that vivid vision yet.
Because I didn't have it. Yes. Yeah. Again, it was cloudy. Yeah. You take the magic eight ball and you shape it. It's like cloudy at best. And that's what was happening. But I just knew, there was the contracting world and it was great, but I've been doing it for 2 decades. And I knew I just wanted something else. I knew I couldn't leave it because that was the source of income, but I wanted to build upon it. And I thought it was my duty to build upon it.
I mean, that's rightfully so. There's a lot of guys that have done that. I just had a guy on. Oh, man. He has strip well. He makes I don't want to say organic, but a natural strip or non-methylene chloride base. And that works really well in the furniture world. But very similar story. Had a furniture company, 2nd or 3rd generation furniture company, and he steps back from it to do the manufacturing side. I mean, it was very similar.
Yeah.
So like you felt like it was the next step and he needed to take that next step.
Yeah. And you need to do it, and I had a lot of discussions with myself. Like, will this make you happy for the next 20 years? Contracting in Big Sky, Montana, working on these multi-million-dollar homes. And the answer that I kept coming up with was no. But it was also providing a financial bed for me to lay on.
Yeah.
And I knew it was still going to be there. I knew that that net was somewhat unbreakable.
Yeah.
So I wasn't so worried about the falling.
So how, let's say, looking out for 25, are you looking, is New Age, the production side, is it looking towards to outpace the service side?
I think that's the end goal. As long as I have employees in the field that are really wanting to keep servicing these high-end contractors that we're working for, I will continue to do it. But also having kind of this auxiliary source of income with the production, selling around the country, even around the world, we're going to keep doing that because as our plaster blends are getting into people's hands, they're becoming so happy with what they're doing.
When you're doing the plaster blends, this just kind of popped in my head. I know we've kind of talked about it, but are you shipping the dry blends or are you actually mixing it and shipping because I think I saw bags.
Yes. Yeah. They're all bags. So it's all dry powder. So we've got raw materials that some are sourced locally, some are sourced from other parts around the country.
Yep.
They come into our warehouse and it's all basically in batch quantities that we figured out. You want to make 80 pounds. You want to make 160 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it all basically just breaks down to bag sizes.
And you just blend it like you would be blending flour or whatever.
Sure. Yep.
Put it in your bags and then just palletize it.
Palletize it and ship it out. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is good because you don't have to worry about freezing.
You don't have to worry about freezing. We don't have to worry about the weight. That is another thing that just baffles me.
Freight.
How unreliable.
Oh.
We have a freight broker that we work with, Straight Line Freight Logistics.
Yeah.
Hobbies, Montana. They're fantastic. They're a broker. So when we have a problem with FedEx, UPS, they're able to kind of get out in front of it and fix it for us.
Yeah.
But the cost
Oh,
is just so variable and unpredictable.
it's all over the place. I remember when I was in manufacturing, the crazy part is wet coatings.
Yeah.
Well, one, it's wet, so truck lines don't always like it.
Yeah.
It's solid freight, so they do like that part, but water base, you get into the northern regions in wintertime sucks. And then you have solvent, which is hazmat. I mean, it was just, and we had the same thing. We had a broker, but I always felt like, you know, I don't know. We had a big chain broker, then we had a local broker, and then another big chain broker. Because I always felt like brokers, nothing bad or for them, but they're playing a fine line between keeping the truck line happy,
Yeah.
and keeping the customer happy.
Yeah. They're like this thin bridge.
Yes, they're just dancing on it, trying to keep everyone happy. So don't piss my trucks off.
Yeah. Amongst commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, freight was probably, I mean, and it fluctuates. You can get your raw materials down pat. You can, do future POs based on volume. I mean, one truck line goes out of business or one storm comes through and rates skyrocket.
Yeah.
In a matter of days.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just this like wild commodity. It's just,
Freight was one of
yeah.
the
And then on top of it, then you have customers that aren't getting what they want. And the last person they gave their money to was you.
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
Oh, it's your fault.
Yes. And I've been the contractor. I've been the guy sitting there waiting for things. And we had a pallet shipped through a very large company. I will not say who they are. And the pallet, a wooden pallet that was 4x4x4, that was probably 3,000 pounds. It was supposed to go to Maine, showed up in California.
Been there? Yep.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How did this get mistaken? All bill waiting, all of it on well-marked stencils, Sharpie address, all 5 visible sides of the pallet. And this particular contractor needed the material. Wasn't his fault. He paid his bill. Wasn't my fault. But I've been the guy waiting. And I know that guy has other people that are hinged, other trades. And it becomes this horrible trickle down of problems. So once I found out where it was, I said, I don't care. How much do you need to keep going? And he said, I'm going to need 10 bags. And I said, we're overnighting it right now. And just put it in the mail.
Yeah.
I'll send it to him.
But they remember that. That's the thing about the manufacturing world. And I mean, some in the service world too. But what I tell guys all the time is in manufacturing, you're selling relationships.
Yeah.
You're not selling plaster. You're selling that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time that guy needs something, he's like, Jeremy got me hooked up. He's my guy from now on.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm also at the point now where we want to have these relationships with people.
Yeah.
I don't want to have just this open floodgate of customers where I can't keep control of these relationships with folks like Errol in Maine, because one upset Errol and that's just going to ripple.
Yeah. Well, the negative is way heavier than the positive. Yeah. And I've learned, and I was talking on an earlier podcast about reading another book, been really into these business books and stuff about transactional relationships versus transformational relationships. Mm-hmm. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want transactional relationships in my business or in my personal life. It's just not worth it. I give you give me money and I give you product. No, I want a two-way street.
Yeah.
I'm helping you. You're helping me. We're growing together.
Symbiotic,
transformational. We're in this together. It's not a one-way street. And once I made that shift and that mindset to where because you can notice the transactional ones really fast.
Yeah.
And you just say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
The stress goes down, but the relationships that you do have are that much better. It's insane.
Yeah. And we grow like as this burgeoning community, which I really like. Again, like we were talking about our subscription-based platform before offline. And that's one thing that I was very, very intentional about was I don't want to be this jack of all, master of none. I want to have a paywall in front. I want people to invest in us and then we'll invest in them. So in order to buy the plaster, you have to be part of our subscription-based platform. You have to be a baseline member, $75 a year. We have it outward facing on the site, but you click on it and it brings you immediately to a paywall.
Interesting.
And it's turned a lot of people off. A lot of people have gotten upset.
But I mean, that goes to the transactional versus transformation.
Yeah.
Transformative relationships. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. And then all I can do is when people get upset, is just meet them kindly at the door and just say, these are the rules. And this is why we've done this. This is what I've seen in the past with these other manufacturers. These are the problems. And these other manufacturers are great. They have great products, but I have just seen them be overburdened by the problems, not able to control how the product's going up on the wall, not able to control the maintenance of the product, and not able to just control the influx of business. And in turn, I think their brand suffers heavily from it. Because a lot of times, it's not necessarily the manufacturer's fault, it's the installer's fault. And if we can take those installers and guide them correctly, and I've messed it up too. Yeah. So many times I'm like, oh yeah, I see that rule, I'm going to break it. Because that's what I need to do for me right now to get this done. And things haven't worked out.
It's a rule for a reason.
Yeah, it's a rule for a reason. You better know what it is before you break it. And this is a way, at the very least, that we can kind of usher these folks in and make sure that we're holding their hands through the first install. And then also make sure that we're available anytime for calls.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of brings around perfect example of that is, you know, why you're here in Dallas is you have a community member that's doing a project.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. He's doing a project right downtown. And he's doing a tabalect, which is a ancient Moroccan technique where lime plaster is put up and is polished and integrated with olive oil soap. And the combination of the soap and the lime curing make a very hydrophobic wall. It's not waterproof. It's hydrophobic.
Okay.
Yes. And he lives in Driggs, Idaho, and happened to be down here doing a project because he's got a little gap in his schedule. And said, I'm going to come down, and it seemed like a perfect time to come see you as well.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So how's the project going?
It's going great. Yeah. There's just like everything. There's always a little lag, you know, plumber didn't put the pipe in the right spot. Niches are a little out of square, level, and plumb, you know, so it involves a little bit of sculpting and a little mud magic, but he's got it under control now. He's got it on the ropes. So I helped him throw some of our basic blend yesterday, which was our base coat.
So let's kind of dig into that a little bit, because I know there's a lot of painters out there and finishers out there that have either considered or played with a little bit of lime plaster from any one of the big brands that are out there that we don't need to bring them up, but kind of walk us through the process behind and the benefits. Cause I was kind of going through your website before of why someone would choose plaster or why it would benefit a painter to maybe join the community.
Sure.
Say, hey, let me learn this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, it's just another arrow in the quiver. You might not necessarily get 100 calls a month to do plaster, but you might get one or two. And those one or two are going to put you in an echelon that is much higher than the rest of your community. You become that guy in your community to do the plaster. And I feel like it is our duty, after all these years of learning it, to be able to show these people and empower them that they can be that guy or that girl.
Yeah.
To be able to do it. So I think first and foremost, there's the beauty. It is unparalleled. You look at a wall, it is insanely three-dimensional to the eye. It's got depth, it's got texture. You touch it, and most of the time it's completely flat and glossy with veneer plaster.
Yeah.
Now, there's also United States Gypsum Company, huge company.
Yeah.
They make veneer plasters that a lot of times are not color integrated, like what Colby does. In pockets of the Northeast and in California, and those get painted a lot of the time. And it's like a really hard finish.
Okay.
So that's not so much for aesthetics as it is more structure and durability.
So is that in Oklahoma, you get into houses built in the 20s, 30s, And you have a lot of, is that more related to like the lath plaster?
Yeah. So you're probably seeing, and I think lath and plaster, I'm not sure 100% of the dates, but I think like around one of the world wars, gypsum kind of rolled in as the predominant building material, and the lath and plaster. So it's basically lath is like these horizontal strips that go
slat.
Go up over it. And those are in the wall to provide tooth and keef to build your plaster structure on.
Yeah. And then sometimes they'll do chicken wire on top of that.
Sometimes they do that. Yeah. And you get into demo that. It's having a party now. Yes. Yes. And then a lot of that is painted. And then you'll even find like these little horsehair fibers that are in there. And those horsehairs give it some tensile strength. So it's able to torsionally twist and it holds it all together.
But when it cracks, it cracks.
Well, when it cracks, it's like spiders.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful in its own right, too.
Yeah.
During the recession, I actually did a whole lot of patching of lath and plaster. And basically what we would do is, basically hang sheetrock so it was flush with the existing, and then do a veneer coat over the top, a lot of times with USG, Imperial, and then paint.
Okay. So the USG stuff, and I'm just kind of based on what I read on the website, the USG, the veneer plaster stuff where you're going to put some drywall up and you're going to do like a level 3 finish.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go over it with the veneer.
Man, you have been reading. Yeah. So level 3 finish for our plaster blends. Normally sheetrock goes up.
Yeah.
Tape to a level 3. I'm not a very fast drywall taper. I'm very much do it all by hand.
Yeah.
But, I like to do silver set or an easy sand, embed the mesh tape with that.
Yeah.
Bevel cut the butt joints, pre-fill it, top it twice with Beadex all-purpose light, then roll out our primary over the top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that primary, what it is basically sand that's mixed in with the PVA primer. And then it gives a tooth and key for our plaster coat to stick to. And then we put our heritage base coat up. We allow that to dry 100%, then put our finish coat up. And we have refined blend, which is heavily polished. We have a classic blend, which is kind of like this subtle matte.
Giving you like that skip trowel. Well, I guess that's in how you apply it.
Yeah. And that would be more like I would say more of our heritage finish coat if you had kind of like more of a rustic kind of Italian flair to it, because it's got a large aggregate.
Okay.
To it.
I've noticed the farther you go west, a family in Durango, as we were talking about, when you in Oklahoma and in Texas, I mean, you guys probably can't see it, but the walls here in the studio, it's a knockdown texture.
Yeah.
Everywhere in Oklahoma and Texas.
Yeah. Like orange peel knockdown?
Yeah. Well, even like here in Texas, orange peel, you kind of have to do a level 3 because it's fairly decent. In this South Central, they go one step further. They don't even go to a level 3. It's more like would call it a level 1.5.
Fire tape.
Yeah. And then throw a heavy texture on there and knock it down. So it's not even, it's all different sizes. It's one of the worst textures, but but as further you go west, they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes more of a really light skip trowel. I've noticed, like
Holy Smooth Wall
in Colorado.
Yeah, Holy Smooth Wall.
Holy Smooth Wall, is that what they call that?
Yeah.
So we always call that. There's different levels of skip trowel. You can do a heavy skip trowel to kind of blend it in, or light, or medium. Yeah, Holy Smooth Wall. I like that.
Holy Smooth Wall. Yeah, comes. Most of the people that I've ever heard say it are from Utah, and they're just. I'm not sure what it is about the Mormon religion, how it produced so many fantastic drywallers.
Really?
But every person I know that says Holy Smooth Wall, there is some sort of root to Utah.
Interesting.
I don't know the origin. If anybody knows, please tell me.
Yeah, I would love to know that. Anybody's got that. I mean,
Yeah, Holy Smooth Wall.
Hit us up. We'll do an episode.
Yeah. There was a guy just the other day, I was talking to him, Hispanic guy, and he said, Holy Smooth Wall. And I said, what are you talking about, Holy Smooth Wall? He's from Mexico. He said, yeah, my wife's from Utah, though. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's basically like a level 3 finish, and then it's troweled up with the slightest skip trowel in it.
Just, a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can see it, but it looks fairly smooth from a distance off.
Yeah.
I love it. It's one of my favorite finishes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's just primer and finish coat.
So I just did a finish in my bus in our back bathroom. My wife wanted to redo it. And anybody that has a motorhome of any kind, it's not wallpaper that they put up in those. It's like paneling.
Yeah, it's like FRP.
But it's like printed on. They like laser. I don't know how they do, but they print different designs. So it's almost 3D because it'll not a very much of a texture. Almost probably like a level 3 texture.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like. But it'll be different designs. And she just wants to make it more us.
Mm-hmm.
So I primed it and did a normal primer and then did what's that called? It's coming in California. My father-in-law, who was my mentor, always called it a poor man's Venetian plaster. It is almost like an acrylic, velvet, metallic, but instead of rolling it on, you trowel it on.
Yep.
And you kind of get the dimension, but depending on how you trowel it.
Pre-made in a bucket?
Yeah.
Got it. So it's a product.
Mioted.
Oh, mioted.
Mioted.
Yeah.
So it was mioted. And it was their velvet, I think is what it's called, which is like an acrylic.
Yeah.
And did that in the bathroom, and it turned out just a really light color, and she just loved it.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are cool. I've seen their stuff. It's fantastic. I know.
They're really nice
folks that have used. That's what I've heard. Yeah, it's a family-run business.
Yeah, family-run business.
Yeah.
Dad and his sons. There was one son that does a lot of it. I knew him from the manufacturing world. I met him in a couple shows.
Yeah.
They're one of the only manufacturers that are approved to use Benjamin Moore color.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So all their formulas are Benjamin Moore color.
Awesome.
So they can shoot any, you call them and say, I need this color. And they can call the office or a distributor and call a corporate office, and they'll figure the formula out.
Yeah.
And then call you and say, all right, here's the formula.
Here's the formula. Got it.
Yeah.
Like blended color or something?
Yeah. Like a blended color, you're matching a red or whatever, designers have that.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 50 Shades of Gray.
Exactly.
Familiar. Yeah.
That's always fun. But I mean, so something like that, is that kind of like a water-based version of the veneer gypsum?
Yeah. So veneer gypsum, I mean, they're all water-based, basically.
Okay.
Sorry. Well, I take that back. You're using water to hydrate all of that.
True.
Mioted, I'm not entirely sure. I do think Mioted's a lime plaster.
Okay.
Now, Mioted, I also believe comes with water in it. Comes.
Yeah, it's a what?
Yeah. It's like lime.
Yeah.
And comes in a bucket.
Yep.
USG, that comes in a bag. You put a whip on it, mix it up. You've got 45 minutes. There's catalyst in it. Gypsum goes fast.
Oh,
once
so
you put it up
on the veneer, the gypsum veneer that you guys have.
Yeah.
You've got a pot life.
Yes. Pot life with the gypsum veneers. With our lime, it does not have a pot life.
Okay.
We have taken the catalyst out of it. A lot of companies, even some lime companies, have what's called pozzolan that sits inside of it, which has a reaction which kicks it. Some of them go really fast. Some of them go real slow.
Depending on how much of that you put in.
Exactly. Yes. Our aggregate's marble. So there's really no actual kick. It actually is curing and drying at the same time.
Okay. And can you do the lime plaster like the gypsum? You're doing a veneer level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same application process for the lime, or can you do it multiple ways?
You can do it multiple ways. It's like so many ways to skin a cat. It's more like you walk in, you're like, what are we dealing with here? How do we want to start? How do we want to start? And then how do we want to finish? And most of the time it's a sample's been provided. There's a finish go.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful, polished plaster. Yep.
That big?
We want this here.
Everywhere.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's go here and let's figure out what we're dealing with.
Yeah. To get it there.
To get there. And so many different ways of substrate prep. Ours, we rely heavily on the mechanics with the primary aggregate in the PVA primer to be able to give it key to stick to the wall.
So you're getting more of a mechanical bond than a chemical bond.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, you're getting both. You're getting mechanical bonds with it keying into the sand because it's the same size aggregate inside of our heritage blend as the aggregate on the wall.
Okay.
And they're both marble. So I'm pretty convinced that when that plaster carbonates, when it sets, they're actually chemically locking to each other as well.
Okay.
I'm not a scientist. I just kind of pretend I'm one at the time. And I've been told I'm dead wrong by people. And I'm totally fine with that.
But it's okay.
I'm totally fine with it. I'm like, but it does work. Yes, it works.
Is it coming off the wall?
Yeah. Is it coming off the wall? Can you scratch it? No. Can you repair it? Yes. There's all these beautiful things about it. Whereas like a USG, they have a plaster bonder that goes up, which is kind of like this like watered down Elmer's glue concoction. And what that does is it gives it like a little chemical bond.
Okay.
To go.
Well, yeah. So there's no aggregate in that one.
No,
so I could see the benefit of the
aggregate.
aggregate.
Yeah. Now we have had people use the USG bonders and put our aggregate into it to give it a little juice as well. And that works great. There's no problem with that.
Yeah. I think that's one of the great things about when you get into the world of fine finishing, whether it be cabinets or plaster, Venetian, or even like liquid metals. When you make the leap into that ultra premium world, that this product sets in, the days of use this guy's primer and this guy's top coat, I don't think really matter.
Yeah.
You get into more of a world, those elite manufacturers, they all work together. You know the product well enough, and you know your systems well enough that I can use this guy's primer or this guy's aggregate with this guy's primer and this guy's top coat.
Yeah. Yep. And couldn't agree more. And that's what I've seen over these years of doing it. And that is one thing that we're really proud about at UH Artisans and with the Plaster Portal, is that folks will call us and they'll say, I have such and such manufacturer. Can we use theirs as a base coat and yours as a finish coat? And all that I kind of coach the team to say is, well, what do you think? Do you think it's going to work? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, you just tell them that if it was your job, you would, but you can't formally recommend that. Seems like a pretty PC way to say, yes, it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because we know it's going to work.
Yeah.
You know, apples are going to bind to apples.
Yeah.
We're aware of that.
But, you know, as a manufacturer, you always got that CYA.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to.
We just can't focus, you know, everyone, it's unfortunate. People just get some real finger pointing.
Yeah.
Can be a little Sue happy sometimes. And we know that our products are going to bond perfectly with our products. We're also not dead set on this bottom line that we have to absolutely sell our products, that you have to buy our primary bonder, which you don't even have to buy. We actually give it with the plaster because it seems fair. Our CR is soap. Again, you being a business coach, you'd be like, what are you doing? It's just soap. I'm not going to charge for it.
I mean, but it's different though. I mean, because I'm just sitting here listening and I'm thinking like the process is so unique.
Yes.
As far as your customer acquisition process is not something I think I've ever heard of. And
it's so wild. Yeah. We've got these mentors.
I love it.
And they work with us and they're super nice. They're friends of a client of ours. And she said, I want you to go talk to Tim and Trish. And Tim and Trish look at me and they're like, you're so crazy. I'm like, no, they're like, but it works.
I mean, that's the thing. It's working.
Yeah, it's working. And I mean, for me, it's just, we're just like so authentically us that we just kind of want to just be the change that we want to see in the industry.
So you are the change.
Trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely trying to be the change. And again, like I'm really aware of conscious capitalism. Like I have no problem with people making money, but we still have to treat them like people.
Yeah.
And they're not just like, you know, the bottom line. It's like, as you were saying before, like these are human interactions that we're having. You have to treat people like people.
Yeah.
You have to treat them the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. I had a guy tell me, man, it's been a long time when I was in the corporate world, and he had an interesting take on that.
Yeah.
See what you think. His take was, you know, the golden rule is treat people how you want to be treated. But like in today's world and how things are changing, he said that it needs to be adapted. You need to treat people how they want to be treated.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much like about you, it's about them. They may not want to be treated like you want to be treated. So being able to visualize that, meet a person, and within a decent amount of time,
read the room,
recognize how they want to be treated, and do so.
Yeah, do so. Assuming that is in line with your code of ethics and your moral compass.
Exactly.
And the boundaries that you set for yourself as a person and a business owner.
Exactly.
Which is relationship.
And you need to do it in like 30 seconds.
You need to do it in like 30 seconds. And then you also need to realize, like, are you willing to bend your moral compass to get this person's business? Is this a person that you want to do business with? Do you want to have a transactional relationship with this person? Yeah. And it is just,
some work, some don't.
Some work, some don't, and I really try really hard to be a good judge of character, and I won and I lost, but at the end of the day, for me, I feel like getting the plaster up on the wall, having it look beautiful, having a person smile and be happy is the win.
That's a good one. I like that. And then you guys do, so for these guys out there that are thinking about jumping in the plaster world, did I read right that you guys actually do training at your facility?
Yes. So we do two things. It first started many years ago with having online trainings. So we have a whole litany of courses that coincide with our plaster blends, and those are up online. Once you're a Plaster Portal member, we walk you through each blend. We have drywall taping with Lydia Crowder, Drywall Shorty. I don't know if you know her. She's great. And she basically walks you through how to do levels 1 through 3. And then we walk you through doing primary all the way up to doing refined finish coats and sealing. That coincides with a workbook, video tutorials, and an online mentor that you can schedule calls with, have a consultation button. And that is a guy named Ben. He's in Vermont, and he worked with us at New Age Artisans for 6 months a few years ago. Him and I kind of came up with this crazy idea years ago on the job site after the phone rang, like for the 7,000th time. And we just decided, as we're driving home from Big Sky one day, we said, oh, well, how would we design a course like this? How would we take the average customer who was calling and said, I want to learn how to do plaster? How would you do it? And we basically, over an hour drive, invented what is the Plaster Portal. And we got back and I put the truck in park and I said, so you want to do it? Do what? I said, what were we just talking about? I'm moving to Vermont. And I was like, that's the beauty. We can do this remote.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty. And 4 weeks later, I was in Vermont with him and we were sitting down and we were just taking every thought and idea that we had over that 1 hour car ride and implementing into the plaster. Crazy. Yeah. It was nuts. And we've got a few hundred subscribers. It took well over a year and 16 months to actually launch it. But very quickly, boom, people started coming. And the goal is to have a community of people from all over the world that are subscribers on this platform. And we have a baseline subscription. When you're a baseline subscriber, you have purchasing access to the plaster blends, plus tips and tricks that exist. We show you how to make lime wash. You don't necessarily need to buy $150 bucket of lime wash.
Yeah.
That maybe costs $1.50 to make.
Yeah.
We show you how to make olive oil soap sealer. Don't necessarily need to spend $45 a gallon on olive oil soap sealer when you can just run it through a cheese grater yourself and boil it and make a solution. We also are really into holistic care for all of our community. And the one thing I've seen is people just tired. Their bodies are sore. So we did a partnership with a physical therapist named Esther Smith. And there are 16 modules that exist on the baseline membership for stretches.
That's awesome.
For the tradesfolk. So that you can come home from a tough day of work, you can stretch. On top of that, once you're a baseline member, we are going to, or we have been, we've got 3 artist series classes. So those classes are from industry professionals all around the world. We've got a gal from the UK that teaches sculpture on the Plaster Portal in the artist series. We have another guy from the UK that teaches cornice in situ running.
What the heck is that?
Cornice in situ. So
cornicing, I kind of know about that from Colby and
sure. So imagine you walk into, a church in England and you look up and there's just these ornate crown molding and there's dental work. Imagine you want to replicate that. It was done 200, 300, 400 years ago. How do you replicate it? So this gentleman, Philip Gacious, learned from his father, Gordon, Philip's teaching to his sons, William and Jude, basically how to make a copy or a replica of that cornice and be able to run it and mass produce those cornices.
Wow.
Yes. And it's amazing. And he lives on the Plaster Portal as well. So we're taking these trades and these skills that exist all over the world, and we're creating this basically community for these folks to live in so that their art form doesn't die.
I like that.
Yeah. And we've got Gabriel Franklin from Pennsylvania, and he does these beautiful floral castings. And our team went out there and spent a few days with him, hanging out with him, filming his course. So that'll be up in the springtime.
That's pretty awesome. All that, just $75 a year.
Good question. $75 a year for a baseline membership.
Okay.
If you want to purchase a class, you want to purchase a Cadillac class, you want to purchase cornice in situ, sculpture, specialty class, those range anywhere from $300 to $475.
Okay.
Class.
Because that is actually a portion of that is going to the guy who's teaching.
Correct. Yes. We take 75% of the revenue and we give it back to the artist, and then the 25% helps stays to the house.
Maintains the
platform, keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And the thought with that is that it's going to raise awareness for people all over the world. As these artists are coming on, we're working with a guy in Ireland to do Scaliola. We're working with a gal in Barcelona, Spain to do Sgraffito, talking to a guy in India to do Chetnad and Arish, which are these just amazing plasters where they're using egg whites and integrating them into the plaster. And all of these arts, they've been around for thousands and thousands of years, and they're all slowly subsiding because literature and awareness is going away.
And I mean, I love the thought of you getting it online because, we all know, a buddy of mine, Aaron, says, internet's forever, people. Once it's out there, it's out there.
It's the World Wide Web. My buddy Cooper said yesterday, he's like, literally the World Wide Web everywhere. And as much as I don't want it to be, it still is there. So this is like a way to have just this amazing modern approach to these ancient techniques.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And I just kind of came up with it one day. And then it's kind of really formed again and took, another pivotal turn when I was on a train with Gabe in France. And we started talking about maybe bringing him on as the forecasting. And then I thought, well, wait a second. Now we have something.
Next generation.
Yeah. Next generation.
Version 2. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
that is pretty awesome. Now, real quick, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've got stuff to do. This box here, is this something that people can become a member or?
Correct. So when you become a member to the Plaster Portal, we're going to send you a traditional line veneer workbook, and we're going to send you a t-shirt. It says New Age Artisans.
Yeah.
We invest in the customer right out of the gate.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, this has course workbooks in there, and this is the same stuff that's on the platform as well, right?
Correct. Yes. So the workbook coincides with the video.
Okay.
And then the videos coincide with actually linking up with the mentor as well. So then once you become a baseline member, we're going to send you the first informational packet.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, if you want to start purchasing artist series, that's when we're going to send you that big box like that.
Okay.
And if you wanted to learn cornice in situ from Philip Geisha's anywhere in the world, spend your, I forget, $400 or whatever for the class, we're going to send you the workbook, the hoodie, and then you get access to the videos and a link to click it. So then the email goes to Philip saying, so-and-so in Iceland would like to do cornice in situ, and they have scheduled a call with you.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you've really thought this through.
I thought it through.
I thought
it through. Whether or not I was able to articulate my thoughts in the beginning, that was a different story.
That's all right. I mean, that's how these things progress. I mean, I've learned as entrepreneurs, you've got so many ideas running through your head. To get some to actually execute is a miracle in itself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're
just taking jelly, just winging it to things passing by. It's like trains coming by and just it bounce. Oh, that one's stuck. Let's go.
That one's stuck. We're going to run with that.
Follow that train. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it all started. And the beautiful part about it is just seeing it take hold and seeing it kind of come to fruition and seeing people just psyched people calling saying, I took your class, logged on the portal. This is amazing. Thank you. Please don't stop.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what about advice for those guys out there? Would you give them that are wanting to get into this as far as
Advice, wanting to go do it.
Stuff you learned throughout your career that you wish you knew when you decided to focus?
I guess first and foremost, this is one thing that my parents always taught me. You can literally do whatever it is you want to do, as long as you put your mind to it. That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, you're a painter, you can't be a plasterer, or you're a drywaller, you can't be a plasterer. If you want to be a plasterer, you can be a plasterer. I'm not that smart. I figured out how to do it. So that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second is just get involved, find a product that you like. Hopefully it's ours, wink, wink, nod, nod, but it doesn't have to be ours. There's so many beautiful products out there.
Yeah.
Invest the time and the energy to really learn it. Talk to the manufacturer. Make sure that you're doing the steps that they want you to do, following their rules. Take it home. Put the kids to bed. Don't go out with friends that night. Hang out, work, make samples, do all the work by, candlelight if you have to. Get it in front of designers, get it in front of architects. If people say, oh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's not a lot of plasterers here, you be the guy.
Yeah.
You be the gal. Get it out there. Go meet with these people. Show them these awesome videos online. Show them these awesome photos on Pinterest, on Instagram, on House. Do accent walls in your friend's house. Go to an architect's office to say, I would like to do this. Pay for the material. Put it up on their wall. All the clients come in and they see it. You create that for them. And that's something that we did over 20-something years. The amount of walls that I did just completely for free.
Some good advice
to do it.
Yeah.
And don't be scared. Be cautious.
That's a good one.
But don't be scared.
Yeah.
How
many chances are you going to mess up?
100% you're going to mess up. Yeah.
But my thought was when you mess up is when you really, really learn.
Really, really learn. Fail means first attempt in learning. That.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's genius, too. I mean, I don't know why. It's the first time I've ever heard that.
I heard from Peloton. She was running on the shred. That thing is failure, fail first attempt in learning. I was like, but all right, so
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Man,
that's so taking it. Yeah, I've taken it. So thank you, Bex Gentry.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
What about one final question I always like to ask everyone? We kind of talked about it, but the whole purpose of the show is to get guys like yourself in front of the painting and finishing industry, in front of these guys that want to learn, that want to expand, but also want them to know you. Want them to feel like, they can call you up and shoot the shit. What's Jeremy outside of traveling and doing plaster? What's your passion?
Oh man. Thanks for asking. No one really asked me that. I love skiing.
Okay.
I love the outdoors, hunting and fishing.
Love the outdoors.
I love trail running, and I don't know why. I think it was mostly to hang out with my wife. She's a big runner.
Okay.
Spend a lot of time hunting with my son.
How old's your son?
He's 14.
Okay.
He's fantastic. Spend a lot of time with my daughter. She has really recently gotten into cheer, which, much to my chagrin, she loves. That's what she loves to do.
I mean, yeah.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I really love. Family, friends, and just trying to just be a good person.
Yeah. I like that.
That's just my general.
I've tried skiing. This is not made to be on skis, but this last year I went snowshoeing.
Oh, nice.
And this year I went snowshoeing. And I think I found a
new passion.
I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, did you get out? Did you see the sun?
I mean, we got out. I mean, we were with our kids who are 7 and 3, so we didn't get too far, but we left back with your grandparents one day. And then we took, couple mile hike up mountain.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just peaceful.
Yeah, it's peaceful. You just get out and you see it. And that's for me most of the time, like even with hunting, like the success rate is not necessarily heavily tied to bringing a critter home. The success comes from just being out, cell phone off,
Mm-hmm.
looking out in the mountains, being one with nature, fighting the elements, embracing the elements, just enjoying yourself.
What's your favorite hunt? Like type of hunting?
Oh man, archery elk.
Archery elk.
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
See, I've never done archery elk. I'm upland.
Upland bears.
Pheasant, duck, quail. God,
Yeah.
I love it.
And that's what I grew up doing with my dad.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But I moved out to Montana and people are like, you want to go shoot birds? What are you doing? This is what we do here. I had this guy take me under his wing and showed me, got me on this ranch and got a white-tailed deer. And then from there, it just turned into archery elk. And just to be out in September, the weather's beautiful, hearing these elk bugle, watching them come in, coexisting with these elk and playing this game of basically chess with the world's smartest animal that are genetically engineered to hide from you in the woods.
I mean, I could see that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's these huge animals, hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and these bulls will come in to a call so silent, won't even make a sound. And you don't know they're there until they're 20 yards away. And then there's other times where the bulls will come into a call and you definitely know they're coming because it's like a freight train coming down. And it is just the level of adrenaline that you get just having these close encounters is like.
See, when I was younger, I tried bow hunting and whitetail in Oklahoma, and I never could get into bow hunting.
Those whiteys are smart.
They're smart. Maybe that's what it is. I just want to be 200 yards away with a rifle.
They're so twitchy.
Yes.
I think it's honestly harder, in my opinion, to shoot a whitey than it is to kill a big bull with a bow.
Oh, man.
Because the bulls, they can give themselves up sometimes.
Yeah. Man, those whitetail, they're so skittish.
They're so just like the arrow just. They're just like, yeah. Yeah. And their nose, but you see their noses and they're just like.
Yeah.
They can pull a scent from hundreds of yards away.
So have you been bear hunting?
I've not been bear hunting.
I have a buddy that just went to Alaska and did black bear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're going crazy.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. And my thing with the bears is like, I have a lot of friends that love bear hunting. They love cat hunting. I'm really happy for them. Gives them so much purpose and meaning in life. To me, any of like these apex predators like that, I really want to have them.
That's a valid
point. I don't want to be out in the woods, like, crawling around on my hands and knees, trying to sound like, a calf elk to call in this big bull, to know that there's a bear right around the corner.
Yeah.
To know like that guy may have killed my cousin. Like, we don't need that. I don't need that. I need to be on that team.
That's kind of like, it's kind of like a karma thing, Let's not put that out there in the universe.
Yeah. And for me, again, like I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. For me, I mean, the quail and pheasant, I like them. They're good. It's fun. Duck hunting, it's more social.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Get out there with a group of guys and have a dog, just walk around the field.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a European pheasant hunt. Have you done one of those?
No.
The most, sorry, all animal lovers.
What country is it?
Well, no, it's called a European pheasant hunt. And I think the reason is because there's not a ton of pheasant over there. So they bring them over.
Got it.
And they have these huge towers. And they take these crates of birds up to these towers.
Yeah.
And then there's positions around the tower. And then they just blow this whistle and they just open a couple cages and let like 50 birds go.
Yeah.
Just go everywhere.
Yeah.
There's like 10 guys, all hands on deck.
Bring that trout.
You're just shooting them and they're flying everywhere.
Yeah.
And then usually there's dogs around. So one or two get away.
Yeah.
The dogs will go flush them out.
Yeah.
And they'll go get them. I mean, I did one for my insurance company. My insurance agent had me out there. I mean, it was more fun, big group. We did skeet shooting. We did quail hunting in the morning with dogs and then pheasant in the afternoon. Had a big dinner. Guys clean the birds. Very, I'll call it bougie hunting at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun.
That sounds fun.
I mean, you had a sore shoulder.
Yeah. 12 gauge.
I mean, constantly. In every section you would go to, there was like a fence.
Yeah.
Where you'd stand behind. And then right there at the end of that fence, they supplied all the ammo. There's a box 3 times the size of this, just full of shells.
So, yeah. This sounds Texan.
Yeah, Texas, Oklahoma, you know.
To each their own. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, awesome having you on the show. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
It's been really awesome. I think we might need a follow-up one.
Would love it.
Definitely. Real quick, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Don't forget, new episodes every Monday, and we'll see you next week.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.